Well, in the absence of a national policy with respect to vaccine mandates, it's been left up to states and, in the case of independent institutions, often the colleges and universities themselves. And so we're seeing a sharp divide between red states and blue states in terms of vaccine mandates and whether or not they're permissible.
Interesting. I don't know if you had a chance to hear the previous story, but people buying fake vaccination cards online. You know, some students are going to face pretty severe penalties if they are not vaccinated, kicked out of school, fined, rigid, regular testing. Bring us up to date on that and what you think of the efforts going on.
It's always been a concern that there would be fake passports for vaccinations. And yet, if we think about what happened with measles, mumps, rubella vaccinations, the efforts that have been in place to protect people for decades, it seems a bit absurd. And so I think that's not as much a concern as the possibility of disruption like we faced a year ago in higher education.
You know, also big props for the multitasking, answering the phone and answering that question in a very good fashion. Why are so many young people, 18 to 21 years old, not vaccinated? That has to come up in discussions among colleges and universities.
Yeah, there are a variety of reasons. I mean, part of it is that people between 18 and 25 feel more invincible than perhaps the rest of us. It is geographical. There were concerns. I mean, I heard from parents when this was first the case that there were concerns that the vaccine didn't have full FDA approval, and so individuals were waiting, and now there's no excuse because the vaccine it's not just emergency use authorization, but it has full approval.
Absolutely. I was just talking with a colleague who has a relative who just entered school as a freshman, was vaccinated, and now tested COVID positive. It is a different world this year. Schools are not set up nearly as well as last year for remote learning, let alone all the concerns that come with someone positive, dining halls, dorm rooms. Do you see this becoming a serious problem as we move into colder weather?
I do. I mean, we're facing not only the Delta variant, which is much more virulent than the novel coronavirus, but also the possibility of a Lambda variant coming in December. We've seen institutions like West Virginia Wesleyan who have said that they were going to charge students extra fees if they weren't vaccinated. Now, they've recently backed off on that, but institutions are trying incentives, disincentives, any method they can to make sure that their faculty, staff, and students are protected to the best of their ability.
You know, the kids are there to learn, but a big part of the college experience, football games, basketball games, social gatherings, getting together in groups. From what you know, do you think schools are prepared?
It's a logistical nightmare. I mean, it's hard to imagine that you could monitor everyone going into a football game at Ohio State, for instance. And so I think it comes down to relying on the community to do the right thing in this case, to act in the best interest of faculty, students, staff, but also the community in which they're located.
You know, we don't have a lot of time left, but give me your best guess for what the upcoming school year is going to be like. A disaster, smooth sailing, or something in between?
I think it will be something in between. I think in states like Florida, where they have had mandates against requiring vaccinations and masks, that we will see surges of the Delta variant and the Lambda variant, and institutions will need to move to remote learning. And so it's incumbent upon us to do whatever we can to convince legislators to pass laws that will not only allow but will mandate vaccinations and masks in the fall.